Bramborough back with some Grand Tactician Civil War, a CSA campaign on the 1.06, which recently went live as the main version of the game. If you're new to this episode and this series or this channel, then I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what you see, then leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. But I sure do appreciate you watching, that's for sure. Okay, opening comments here. Going back over some commentary, and this is getting to be kind of a repeating topic, this first one, but both in video commentary in previous episodes and in comments. A recurring topic that has come up is the ever popular Fort Pickens. And I kind of changed my mind about this a little bit. You know, I kind of explained in a previous episode, and there's been some discussion and comments about how, you know, I don't see that Fort Pickens hurts anything. So I don't want to take the time and the troops and everything to go mess with it, because, you know, I don't feel like it's worth the time and the troops to mess with it. And there was one specific question about, well, if you leave Fort Pickens, does that hurt state support? Because I noticed that Virginia is getting a little low, and Fort Monroe is there. Virginia is significantly lower, but let's take a look at the state support heat map. Now, we're still early in the campaign. We're in 1861, so support is very high across the Confederacy. Our overall well, that's national morale. I don't want to mix apples and oranges. Our support is quite high. We have a national support of 94, and that's an average across all states. And even that high number is skewed a little bit, dragged down primarily by Kentucky at 55%. Because it's about half Union occupied, and it just recently seceded. It started as a Union state. And then Virginia's coming down as well. Virginia's down into 79%. And this is a dynamic that I had hoped to mitigate by taking the Old Dominion starter policy. And, you know, it's not really working out. However, I do not believe that Virginia's support, lower and continuing to drop support, is because of Fort Monroe. Florida has Fort Pickens, and Florida's at 99, which I expect it to stay high. In my experience as the CSA, Florida stays high, even as the other states start to drop off a little bit later. And the reasons for that aren't too hard to figure out. Florida doesn't have that much manpower. Therefore, it doesn't have that many units. Therefore, there aren't very many Florida troop casualties compared to most of the other states. So I think that's why Florida does just fine on state support. I am not sure that the presence of an enemy fort, and in Florida's case, it's not just Fort Pickens, it's also these two in the Florida Keys as well. I think these are, what are these called? Fort Jackson and Fort Taylor? It's Fort Taylor, and this is Fort Jefferson, not Jackson. So I don't really think that if the presence of these enemy forts has any effect at all, and I'm not sure that it does, it's pretty minor. Pretty minor. Probably would be a little bit more if there was an IIP close enough that the fort could actually exert some control over it. We don't have that at Fort Pickens. We do have that at Fort Monroe, which has the port of Hampton right by it. And if we didn't have this army here, the Peninsula Army besieging Fort Monroe, Hampton would be Union. Likewise down here at Key West. The port of Key West is just close enough to Fort Zachary Taylor that it is actually a Union IIP in Florida. But Florida state support, as far as I can tell, is fine. That said, I've changed my mind, and I think I will take Fort Pickens because a friend of the channel, and I know many of you watch his channel as well, Worms and Warriors, he made the comment that, well, if for no other reason, you can just go down there and siege it, and you can get a little bit of experience on your raw troops. I'm like, well, that's true. So, where do I have raw troops? I've got Bragg's recruiting command. And I'm recruiting these troops anyway. And I said, well, I don't really want to spare the troops, but I got some here. So I'm thinking, let a few more of his brigades show up. He's only got 6,500 men at the moment, but he's got newly recruited brigades. Brigades coming that are earmarked for usage elsewhere. In the meantime, though, maybe old Bragg could just bring his recruiting command from Atlanta down the railroad and kind of like some on-the-job training. Here's your final exam. Let's besiege Fort Pickens before you go to your operational assignments. So I'm not going to move him yet because I want his new units to get there. But yeah, let's move old Bragg down to Greenville. That way he's on a railroad and they can get supply there, I think. And then he can go down and it's like an exercise, like a live fire exercise. All right. Someone asked a question. Hey, Bram, are you having trouble with wounded officers not returning fast? And I don't know that we've had a consistent problem with that in this. Well, this campaign's still pretty new, but we had some wounded in the last campaign. Some of them came back pretty quickly. That was in Beta 106 mostly. But we also had one notable case where Stonewall Jackson was wounded in one of the earliest battles of that campaign, and it took him almost a year to come back. So my best answer there is I think there's just some RNG with it. Maybe there's like a new roll every month to see if they're recovered, or maybe it's just kind of determined but hidden right when they're wounded. I have no idea, but the length of time it takes for officers to come back from being wounded varies a lot, is about all I can say about that. In my experience. Others might have different experiences. Somebody in the comments was interested in plans for McClellan and what to do about him. Well, first things first, I think priority one is we need to get the Peninsula Army back up here into Northern Virginia after the resolution of Fort Monroe. So that's step number one. Until then, probably nothing. And that's really about the long and short of it. Now, earlier, kind of made the case that I probably should have attacked him earlier. At the time, McDowell came down, it looked like these armies were going to gang up on me and force a retreat. But we were able to convert that siege battle into a tactical battle without McDowell being reinforced. So that kind of worked out. He's building a supply depot. I'm kind of fine with him completing that supply depot, which he's going to do pretty soon now. There's only a week left on that. Having a supply depot there is good for us. If it's under our control, it's yet one more supply depot that we get to use that we didn't have to pay for. So that's fine as far as that goes. But I'm definitely not attacking into him with just these two armies, especially when there's other Union armies around. We'll get Fort Monroe taken care of, which may take a while. I'm not sure that this particular siege is going to succeed because the this needle is going in the wrong direction. We're down to 56 to 44 in our favor. And the condition of Fort Monroe is going down. And the firepower, let me click that off. The firepower of Fort Monroe is going down. So we might still get lucky, but it is also possible that the Peninsula Army will retreat out of this siege before that happens. It's possible. We'll see what happens. And if they do, no big deal. They'll just retreat up here to West Point or Williamsburg or Richmond at worst. And they'll recover their morale, and then we'll just go back. And Fort Monroe's condition will not have recovered during that time period. So they will succeed eventually, even if it's not on this try, which could still happen. But not until that's all resolved. Then Magruder will be back up here, and then we will be in a better position to do more stuff in Northern Virginia. So we'll just see how that goes. Okay. So one of the small experiments that I was looking at was, can you have a separate engineer unit that only has a little bitty horse artillery, so it only uses 50 men in manpower, and can they still build telegraphs and forts and supply depots as effectively as the larger engineer units I had been using in the past? And here's where we get to find out. I'm pretty sure that they can do it. The real question is, can they do it at the same cost and at the same speed? So we are eligible to build a telegraph here at Chattanooga. But how long is it going to take them? That's the question. Okay. Okay, so we can build it. Not at increased cost, but how long is it going to take them? Yep, about 10 days. I think that's pretty much standard. So there you have it. You can have really, really small independent engineering units. That's good to know. Okay. So how about the way things are looking in the different theaters? Just had a battle over here. Actually, I think technically this battle is still in progress, I think. We'll have to run time a little bit for the rearguard action and all that stuff. And the next plan for Sterling Price, I don't think it's going to let me move him right now. Yeah, it is. Okay. So the next plan for Sterling Price, he's got the one supply depot. Well, you know what? He's used up a lot of ammo here. He's fine on small arms ammo, but those 24-pound howitzers, they're all used up. So let's let him replenish out of his newly acquired supply depot here that's got 654 artillery ammo. And then we will run him up here to take this other supply depot at Rolla. Plan remains the same for the Army of Tennessee. They are preparing to go into winter quarters, which is going to happen in just 4 days. It's October 28th on November 1st. winter conditions will set in with attrition and movement speed penalties. So Sidney Johnson, his plan is to sit here for the next several months. Those plans, no doubt, will be affected by what the Union decides to do over the winter. And I think we've already talked about the plan for Virginia. We're going to keep hitting Fort Monroe, and then we're going to get the Peninsula Army, which at that point will no longer be called the Peninsula Army, get them back up here in the Northern Virginia. And as I think I've said before, at some point we're going to transition to the Army Corps structure, which I hope will occur during this winter. And these three current armies, in quotation marks, will become the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Corps of the Army of Northern Virginia. Original, right? Yeah, I know. Okay, we've talked about kind of what the plan is in each theater. I think I've gone over recent comments and addressed a couple things. So, time rolling. Oh, so apparently that battle at Springfield, Missouri was, I think this is the newspaper headline for our 5th land victory in a row. I think that's what this is. Win 5 consecutive land battles. Yes, I think that's what just happened there. Which gave us a +5 national morale boost, which actually we kind of needed. We were down to 89, so yeah, that's good. I'm just kind of reviewing these. This Union support below 60 is specifically on November 4th, 1862. That's when the congressional elections are. So that's a while off. It is not hard to knock down enemy morale. It is harder to knock down enemy support. This would actually be a pretty tough one to do. I don't think I've ever done it. Now this is interesting. When in Union territory, didn't we just do that at Springfield? Missouri is a Union state. That's interesting. Now that area of Missouri, I think, started under Confederate control. Maybe that plays into it. Maybe if we fight another battle up at Rolla. But I thought this went by state, not by, areas currently controlled at the start of the campaign. But if it were because of that, then we should have gotten credit for winning up at Alexandria, which starts at Union control. So I'm still confused. I mean, maybe it's about to pop after the last headline, and I just haven't. No, okay, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why we didn't get credit for winning in Union territory there. Missouri is a Union state. Okay, Well, Price, you going to get supply from that depot or not? He is connected to the Springfield depot. His supply flow is coming up. Yeah, okay. Okay. How are we doing at Fort Monroe, Magruder? It's kind of going back up. Yeah, 4 conditions down to 14, firepower down to 2. I think they're going to scoop past the threshold. We've got one broken unit. They'll make it. France going to mess around in Mexico. Bully for them. Ooh, officer rehabilitated. Donaldson. Donaldson was defamed in an earlier battle because I wasn't paying attention to the casualties he was taking. And I completely forgot to remove him from command. He's been sitting there in defamed status ever since, including fighting another battle after that. Anyway, so he's rehabilitated now. Okay, so Union has gone with legal blockade. I think that's pretty standard, especially since we're on historical behavior. Oh, it is November 1st. That means it's time to look at the Econ and Intel reports. Okay, we're down to BBB mediocre. Yeah, issued some more bonds. We're up to $290 million in debt. I think we saw that before. Recovery mode on the economy, mediocre and decreasing this month. That's not good. However, our tax revenues went up. That's the hospital that we were built. Actually, I think it's complete now. Yeah, we got a hospital up here in Northern Virginia. I think that'll help out Beauregard and Johnson a bit. Export volume 53,139,000 imported. Still a big gap, but I think that gap is a little bit narrower than it was. I think. And we still lack food, iron, and flour. No news there. Intel. Okay. Currently discussing legal blockade. Yeah, they are. Matter of fact, in the 3 hours since you wrote this telegram, they actually passed a legal blockade. Administration reform, armored gunboats. Okay. Well, it's one thing to have the project open, it's another thing to actually build them, and then it's yet another thing to actually put them in a fleet, and then it's yet another thing to actually use them. So let's see how the Naval Campaign AI does at stringing that sequence of events together. Why does it keep telling me about Spain? Yes, I will bitch about that every single time. 3,000 men recruited into one brigade, okay. They've got a new army formed in Missouri. I think that's pretty standard. 21 ships started. %, Army morale with a change of -8 recently. That would be due to the defeat at Springfield. That makes sense. And Goodrich. Oh, now I wonder if lost is killed outright, or if that include, permanently lost or temporarily lost. Does this include wounded officers? Oh, and they're back to carrying out offensive operations. Okay. Well, that probably means Beauregard and Johnston are going to have some more work to do in the near future, whether it's wintertime or not. And there's our November Econ and Intel update. What is Magruder's? Yeah, Magruder's doing fine for supply status, 100%. He's apparently doing fine on readiness as well. His readiness isn't dropping, still green. Oh. No wonder I wasn't seeing supply flows over there in Missouri. I don't have my supply flows turned on. What's your status? 84% flow, but he's stocked back up on provisions and forage. Let's move right on up here and get Price to engage again, if needed. The point is to come up and take the supply depot. There's that army of Southwest Missouri forming in Northwest Missouri. I guess they overheard me talking about taking St. Joseph and Leavenworth. An indicator that the AI has got better intel capacity than I do. What's this telegraph going? Almost done. And the next station will be up at Knoxville. Siege status? 0% condition, 0% firepower. Really now it's just about taking it to these 2 brigades, which are down to stable. Jefferson Davis, formally elected. Johnson and Beauregard up to green readiness. That's a good development. And they're pretty much in winter quarters. Entrenched is also considered winter quarters, is my understanding. Let's have a quick look and see how our naval building program is going. Okay, our frigates, that will be our battle squadron, are about 2/3 done. They got about 2 months left, so they'll be online in early January. Meanwhile, CSS Virginia, also about 2/3 done. However, it builds so much slower. It's still got, what is that, about 5 months left to go. So the frigates will be ready about 3 months before Virginia is. And now when she completes, she will definitely join the battle squadron as its flagship, essentially. However, the frigates aren't going to wait for Virginia. As soon as these guys are ready, we're going to form them up, get our battle squadron going, and put them to work. These are all kind of replacement ships, tender gunboats, because some of these little scouty ships, that they'll blunder into enemy forces occasionally and get sunk. So we've got more ready to go take their place. I think I've got pretty good coverage on the rivers where I want gunboats at the moment, or I will as soon as they move. How are these brigs doing? So we built these really just a few days ago. They're already 35% done, and 39 days. Okay, so 39 days at 1/3 done. So basically these are like 2-month builds, about 60 days. So you can churn these out fast. I think those sloops of war probably a little bit longer. Yeah, 15% done. Oh my goodness. Okay, so these sloops of war take about as long as a frigate does, which probably makes sense, being timber armored. So 4 months, we're looking at March for these guys, whereas these brigs, we're going to have them available in just over a month. Like, it'll be mid-December. Yeah, you get all the information on what it takes to build them and how much they cost and all that. It doesn't tell you this is how long they take. Okay. Nope, somebody's moving up here. Okay, McDowell's just he's moving somewhere. He's moving back over here to Washington, D.C. Looks like. Well, looks like he can't make up his mind what he wants to do. Now he's going back the other way. How's Price doing? Aha! So this depot is already Confederate owned now, and do we have I think we're drawing supplies from it. Okay, supply depot building here. So I think this is where Halleck is now, at Warsaw. And strangely, apparently Price was drawing supply from down here at Rockbridge. Well, this damn thing has gone back Union owned. Okay. So let's go park Sterling Price at Lebanon, and that should put him equidistant, and hopefully he can draw from both depots at once and get the Springfield depot back under Confederate control by his proximity. Right. Is there anything going on in Sidney Johnston's area? Doesn't look like it. Still have vision on... Well, do we? Where is the Army of the Mississippi has moved over here. The telltale being that there's a supply depot being constructed here. That's ominous. That's a pretty big force. I think it was 17,000 men the last we saw it. Let's, there is also a squadron forming here. It's only 3 ships. But 3 ships is enough to defeat any one of our gunboat squadrons. I'm going to get Scout Ron 6 back over here on the other side of Cairo, before that fleet actually gets a ship in it. Nope. Aha! Take that! It didn't have any ships yet, therefore it disintegrated, because it was just kind of non-existent as far as actual forces. The mighty gunboat prevails. Well, you know what? Go back up to your station. Nice job, Scout Ron 6. John Wilkinson, you get a gold star. I have formed a bunch. Yeah, all our other little gunboats are still at port because I just formed them, but they're up to green readiness now. So let's get them out on the rivers. Let's put Huger. I don't think that forces on the river actually do anything against preventing crossing at a ferry. But I don't know that I've ever placed one just like right on a ferry. So let's just put Huger right here. I don't think it'll do anything. That's yet another thing that they need to take a look at with naval in this game. Scout Ron 9. Let's put you right here on the Cairo ferry. with the port in your combat radius, so that any other... Actually, what we'll do is we'll just put these guys on blockade, and that should make Cairo ineligible to form a fleet. Haha! How do you like them apples? United States Navy, suck on that. Let's see, who was going there? Scott Ron 9. Go on blockade. And Scout Ron 16 will be in blockade range as well. And we can do the same for Evansville. Same idea. You know what? I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do that with Scout Ron 6. And the reason is I don't want to blockade St. Louis. If I had a decent force here, I would, but it's just, we just have gunboats, single gunboats on the rivers. If I blockade St. Louis, even if it's just a tiny bit, there is a squadron up here. It's not all that big, but it's big enough to wreck our gunboat fleets. So if I blockade St. Louis, it might provoke that response to come down the river. If I do not, then I think that force will probably just stay stationary. So that's why I'm not blockading with this guy. These other guys can. They won't hit... Now, because they're blockading a different port, that force could still come down. But that's... Well, we'll just see how it works out. I'm kind of curious to see what happens. How about this yep, that telegraph station's done. And now we know that we can do this job just with horse artillery, right? So let's do this. Let's send Winston's brigade back to recruiting command and take one of these little horse artillery units and put it in the 1st Engineers. And he'll be there in 9 days. And while he's waiting for that battery to show up, that doesn't prevent Clark from moving. So let's take a look at our... Yeah, the idea was to extend a line over to... We wanted connectivity to Little Rock, and we needed an intermediate station. That's why we built Helena. So Clark, come on over to Little Rock. Yeah, you can take the river. It's fun. And then by the time he gets over there and that battery shows up, I'll be able to build that. Alright, I was moving the rest of my scout ships up. Let's put Scout Ron 15. That's covered, that's covered. Let's put a scout unit right here. right here at Louisville for Sinclair. Is there any value to sending any scouting ships up these rivers? I don't think so. These are all Confederate forts up in here. That's a Confederate fort. That's a Confederate fort. I can't think of any good reason to get spotting up here. That is a Union fort at Pawnee Rock. Be kind of nice to get one or two up here on the Missouri River, but that's not going to happen as long as that federal squadron remains at St. Louis. No, we'll just continue putting gunboats up the Ohio River. I think this looks like a good place. Yeah, even if they don't block movement, and I don't think they will, at the ferries, at least these are good places to have eyes. And that leaves Jones. I'm going to put one at Fort Smith. I don't know if a gunboat on the river can really see any further than a fort can. To be honest, I'm not sure that forts really have vision. But just in case some Union force kind of slides down here behind Price, that may help a little bit with intel in this area. And Cobb. Oh, that's a fort. Hold on. Glassell. Yeah, come over here to Maysville. Well, why doesn't he want to move? Oh, there he is. I guess I had it clicked on land. Okay, we got gunboats going out. Okay, Magruder, how you doing? Yeah, Needle's going in the right direction. We're 70-30. He'll get there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Apparently McDowell has come back. Right in the exact same situation. We are in a siege at Alexandria. The same three armies. Army of Occupation is not involved. Department of Pennsylvania is not involved. It is way in our favor. So I'm kind of back at that same decision point again. The siege is in our favor heavily. If we just let it play out, it should be fine. It's just the unknown of whether Patterson or McClellan will join. They're not showing any signs of doing so, but they could. And if we convert it to a tactical battle with an assault, we now know they will not get pulled in. If we let it ride, they could move and join. And it's got to be said that for the campaign, at the campaign AI level, that's kind of a reckless move, right? I mean, it didn't. I don't know if the AI remembers past history. Probably not. But his force is 19,000 against. And ours have grown. The hospital probably helped a little bit with that. And of course the conscription is kicking in with draft replacements. So we've got almost 18. Yeah, we've got about 35,000 men here. So why he would come and initiate this siege, that's not, that doesn't seem very smart. Of course, we do have it on elevated aggression and very hard difficulties, so, maybe that plays into it. I am kind of tempted to just let this ride. I don't think Patterson's going to get involved. The wild card is McClellan. Now, if he comes, that makes it 3241. That makes it 50,000 men here. So there's a risk, but I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see what the AI does. Right? I mean, if McClellan moves and joins this siege, then that kind of makes McDowell's action not quite as dumb, because he's expecting that to occur. Hey, I can go do this because McClellan's going to help me. If McClellan doesn't, that tells us a little bit of something about AI behavior as well. I think I'm going to take the risk and just see how this plays out. I'm curious now. Now, it could be a disaster. We may lose and we may retreat back down to Richmond. Well, if that happens, we'll deal with it. Trent Affair. Historical flavor. As far as I know, this doesn't have any effect on the game. If there's a diplomatic relations impact to this event, I've never really noticed it. Nor have I particularly looked for it either. Let's just double check these tooltips, make sure something isn't happening that we don't know is happening. Missouri Army in Missouri, yes. And we got West Virginia. Okay, Army of Occupation in Northeastern Virginia, we know. Where exactly is this West Virginia militia? Okay, yeah, Wheeling. That's nothing new. I think they start there. Yeah, July 21st spotting delay. That force is up to 8,000 men. Well, the tooltip says 7756, which sounds awfully specific for an estimate. Oh, wait a minute. I think are we done with the telegraph station? We should be. Yeah. Right. Louis Hebert up to... Let's double check the radius. Oh, I'm glad I checked. Okay, so the next telegraph station needs to go on the south side of Knoxville, right around this industry here. Speaking of that industry, I've gotten a comment in the past asking, what do you do about these economic alerts? The short answer is they're just kind of there. It's not as if they really require immediate action. It's just an alert that this particular company isn't making money right now because the cost of its pre-goods exceed what they can sell their product for. And there's not much immediate that can be done about that. Over time, some of these will clear as economic conditions improve for them, and some of them just kind of stay that way. It's worth mentioning this particular facility, the Thomas Riggins plant, is losing money. That's a private company. That's not our government. We want them to make money because they're a Confederate company, and that would help the economy. But that's not costing us money directly. Just long term, move such that the cost of their pre-goods will eventually go. The cost of their pre-goods will eventually go down, and the value of their product goes up. Now, one thing we can do to help, and actually I should have done this before, and I kind of forgot about it. This is an important factory. It is an ironworks, and it produces weapons. And it might produce artillery too. I'm not sure about that. That might be foundries. But this is definitely a key industry. This iron mine is a key industry. And we also have this railroad that runs through here, which is a pretty important rail lane between the east and the west halves of the Confederacy. I believe it is worth spending money on a market to improve infrastructure in this area to help the railroad, to help the ironworks, and to help the iron mine. So I'm going to go ahead and build a market at Knoxville. Seems you always have to click that thing twice. Okay. And how are we doing on... Okay, enough subsidies have come in that we've dropped the upgrade price on this iron mine down to 15 million. I think I'm still going to wait for the industry subsidy. Yeah. We'll save over 2 million by doing that. So, or over 10 million by waiting. So, Louis Hebert needs to come up, not quite to Knoxville, but right by this plant, because that'll be a good spot for the telegraph. And how about the first engineers? Have you gotten to Little Rock? No, because I'm not sure I've even advanced time since giving that order. Come on, Magruder. Oops. Royal Americans are panicked. That's not good. Okay, McClellan and Patterson continue to watch from the sidelines. And we're at 84-16 right now. These are all those gunboats showing up, I think. Bullock, Clark, Jones. Oh, Abair got... That's pretty fast for Abair to get up to Knoxville. Oh, this is the Little Rock. Okay, so here's a question. Is his horse artillery here yet? I don't think so. No. Is it going to let him start a telegraph station? Yes. There you go. Wow, that constructed cost 15,000. Why so low? I'm not gonna bitch about it. Oh yeah, I forgot about this gunboat. Well, this is the guy I should have sent up to Fort Smith. I just forgot he was there. Scout Ron 10, come on up to... How about this bend in the river? That looks like a good place to spy on some Yankees. Staying at 8416 here. Yeah, that's going pretty heavily in our favor now at Fort Monroe, as it should. Pierce's command down to nervous. So's Garnet, though. Well, that's somebody else. I don't think that's Garnet anymore. I think it's Tolliver. Okay, we have funding 1. So that's going to improve the economic subsidies coming in. So the decision at hand is, I went industry and government, and I think I'm going to go ahead and bot back over to do Militia 2 to improve our manpower reserves. Currently at 39. Yeah, let's do Militia Act 2. When this is done, I'm going to pop back over and do the Tariff Act. Let's do that. And while we're on this, are there any projects that we're interested in? Oh, probably quite a few. Okay, let's see what we got here. Politics. Okay, we'll do another railroad construction, looking ahead to our second railroad. Nothing in econ. This is the subsidy category here, that funding policy. We've doubled our money coming in for these yellows, these economic subsidy projects. Plantation, cotton is king. Not interested in those. Not interested in this. Oh. We have Confederate rifles available. We have rifled artillery. We have parrots. And I don't remember what the last project was that I took. We have medium range carbines. We don't have it yet, but we are extremely close to organization reform. There's a lot of really tempting stuff there. However, the overall strategy was to bounce back and forth between weapons projects and manpower. You got to get weapons for the soldiers, but you got to get the soldiers too. And so I'm going to hold to that plan and take level 2 of recruitment offices. Which leaves us still pretty close on a lot of this other stuff. So we didn't really lose that much. Okay. Confederate rifles is really tempting. So is medium range carbines. But I think better go for the artillery. Because we do have some... You know, we've got some infantry weapons unlocked for projects, and they are on order. We just don't have that much cavalry yet anyway. But we need to get some more rifled artillery out there. So I think either rifled artillery or Parrots will be the next one. I don't know which one yet. Probably rifled. I like the 3-inch ordnance gun. Well, I was kind of hoping that we'd get it. We'll go a little bit longer. I know we're at about an hour, but I'd like for at least one of these sieges to resolve before we call a close to the episode. What's Price's situation over here? Okay, we've got this supply depot back under our control, and this one, and yet somehow he's not drawing from either of them. He's getting all of his supply from Rockridge IIP. Well, okay. And he's doing fine. So he can just go right into winter quarters here at Lebanon. Anything cracking in Johnson's area? Okay, that supply depot doesn't appear... It could just be a vision thing, but typically you can see supply depots. Army of Mississippi may not be here. Army of Indiana is showing up over here. Army of the West has come back towards St. Louis. Yeah. They're moving around back in here. Oh, and this one, I mean, just now it was Confederate and now it is not. So there's an army moving in over here. I'm going to pop Price to defensive stance just so... Oh, something else disintegrated. I think they tried to build another squadron here at Cairo. There's the army. Okay, there's a lot of Union troops starting to form up in here. Magruder. That's still 84-16. Well, McClellan doesn't appear very interested. 85-15. We are taking slightly more casualties. It's not bad, though. Morale all looks good. Eager, 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 eager. Yeah, morale situation's fine. For that matter, McDowell's looks pretty good too. So basically, I think it just comes down to we have so many more guns than he does, and I wonder if the fact that all these guns over here are now 24-pound howitzers, which supposedly are supposed to be good in siege and entrenchment situations. I wonder if that's actually modeled. Now notice, this is actually a negative. That's not 150, that's minus 150. And that kind of implies that his replacements are coming in fast enough that it's overcompensating for his losses. His army's actually growing. Or is it? Let's watch this for a second. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it is. He's actually gaining men. The casualty rate is so low that his army's actually growing. Okay, looks like the Union just followed suit with their own funding one. Fair enough. Oh, and the Army of Indiana has come a-calling in Missouri and is attacking Sterling Price. And we're looking at what? 26,000 men against 15,000 men. That is shaping up to be a pretty decent fight. But I think I'm going to take it. Price's men have combat experience. It's not much, but they've got a little bit. And I am pretty sure that all the units in the Army of Indiana do not. He is in defensive mode. We're going to have a fair amount of engineering points for defenses. And I don't think it's guaranteed. There's some RNG involved. But I think we're probably more likely to get a defensive situation on the battle map. And so I think I'm going to take this battle. But not in this episode. We'll have the Battle of, I guess it's going to be the Battle of Lebanon next time around. So if you like what we're doing with the channel, if you like the content, then leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe. But at any rate, thank you very, very much for watching. I really do appreciate it.